Do you want to be a superhero in your kids' eyes? You want them to grow up thinking you are a superhero, you're undefeatable, you're unstoppable, you're superhuman. Hopefully, by the end of this video, we'll have a better understanding of how I go about trying to be a superhero to my kids. If you don't know who I am, my name's Daniel. It's nice to meet you. And I got to thinking the other day, I heard one of my coworkers talk about how they felt like their dad was a superhero. They grew up and they saw him working outside, working long hours, helping their mom, doing the thing, and they were mesmerized by the fact that he was a strong human. He was a hard worker. It felt like he had endurance for days. And it got to the point to where they kind of idolized the guy. And it wasn't long after the guy turned, I don't know, he became a preteen, 12, 13, 14 years old, somewhere in there. And he finally got to see his dad for who he really was. His dad was a drunk. His dad was a womanizer. His dad was abusive to his wife, and he got to see every flaw that his dad had to offer. But he never saw it for what it really was as a kid, because the moment that he thought his dad was a superhero, he ignored everything else. He ignored all these other signs that were staring him just blatantly right in the face, and it changed his relationship with his father afterwards, rightfully so. Now, I don't actually know what happened after that, but it really got me thinking about my own life and my kids and how I want them to think about me. And honestly, I do want them to think I'm a superhero. I want them to think that I'm, someone to look up to, someone that they could idolize and try to replicate in their own life when they grow up. I know that I'm not perfect, right? I'm far from that. I have my flaws just like everybody else does, but I want them to know what a good, hardworking man is, how a good, hardworking man treats their mother and makes time for them and makes time to do all the sports and do all the other things in life that they can then take note of and do it for themselves when they get older, right? That's how they can mirror what I do, and they can duplicate it in their own life as they get older with their marriage and when they have kids and when maybe they have fall on hard times. It's something that I want them to take on for the rest of their life, and I want them to pass it on to their kids and so on and so forth, because I don't want them to think that I was a good guy but I was hiding behind a mask. I want them to know that I was a good guy. I want them to see that I was a good guy, to feel, to at least to actually witness it with their own two eyes, that I was a good guy and I am a good guy and I wasn't hiding behind a mask, and I am that same person day in and day out. Like, that's just me. I'm a good guy. And I know that they're smart kids. My kids are smart. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there, maybe you have kids, maybe you don't, maybe, maybe you're in the same situation that I'm in right now. Maybe you're like my friend that I just got done telling the story about. Well, so I want to challenge you. Okay. I want you to be a good person. I want you to be the guy that your kids look up to be the guy that says, you know what, I'll do anything for my kids, and I want them to see that. That way they could witness it. That way they can see it with their own two eyes. I challenge you watching to be that guy. Take a second. Maybe you're already that guy, but maybe you're not. And maybe you don't know how to do that. Maybe you don't know how to be the hero in their eyes, right? Maybe you just don't know who your kids are or what they are or how they are or what they like, what they don't like. I'll lead off with this. If you don't know that stuff, ask them. right? Sit there and pick their brain. We've become so detached from our children by um, by the time that they're, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. We don't know who they are anymore. They've been, I'll call, raised by the system, right? We ship them off to school in hopes that they get the right education to be good people when they grow up. But in all reality, we really have no clue the curriculum that they're learning. So you lose touch with your child. You don't know what they like. You don't know the influence that they're getting from their friends at school or their teachers or whoever, right? So ask them, take a moment, go into their room and just sit there. Maybe you don't have anything good to say right away, but you just sit in their room and you take up space. You grab a book, you start reading a book while they're listening to music or whatever, and you just hang out. Just be that guy, be that parent. And I bet, and maybe it doesn't happen right away, but maybe after the course of a couple of days of you doing it, your kid will open up. He'll start talking to you. Maybe you'll get the nerve to start talking to your child and figuring out what they like rather than one word responses like, "How's your day going? Good. Thanks for asking." And then that's it. You could actually dive into your kid's life, learn his friends, learn his likes and don't likes, and what sports teams they're into, and like all the trends and the things and the drama. Maybe you learn that stuff, right? So then that's step one. If you don't know what it is, then you got to take a step as a parent and figure it out for yourself, right? So that's what it takes. Step number two is, in my eyes, and how I go about this whole deal, is you hold their feet to the fire. Now, what I mean by that is you hold them accountable for what they are as kids, with all their faults and all their goods and bads in life. You want them to be you want them to feel responsible for their own life in a way. You want them to feel like um, they're not being helicopter parented by somebody just out of the blue, right? So when you come in from left field and you haven't been there in your kid's life for so long, or you've been standoffish for so long, and then all of a sudden you jump in and you're all over your kid, well, I have no doubt that your kid will feel smothered and will react in one of two ways. They'll either push you away or they will accept you with all your faults and trying to realize what you're doing, and they'll accept you in their life. Now, if they accept you, that's great. Hopefully they do. But if they don't, and they push back, then maybe it's a chance for you to take a step back and figure out what you're doing wrong in that situation. But the fact of the matter is, you're trying, and that is all it takes. If you want your kid to think of you as a hero, the first thing is to try, right? Let them make the decision for themselves. If they see you doing good in life, they're like sponges. They'll pick it up and they'll start doing the same thing. I mean, kids aren't dumb. They're smart people. You just have to give them the tools to succeed. And if they see you doing it, they'll mirror you, I promise. And then the third, and I think arguably one of the most important, is to listen to your child. Don't get so defensive when you guys do start talking about stuff, and maybe it's something that you don't necessarily want to hear. Maybe it's something that you didn't think your child liked or did like, or you didn't think they were hanging out with a friend, or maybe you find out that your kid just doesn't like sports or school or whatever. Don't get don't get super upset over the situation. Take a step back, listen to them, listen to their feelings, have them explain their whole life to you, and keep your mouth shut. Just listen, nod, and say, "You know what? I got you. I'm listening to you. Let me feel your feelings, tell me your emotions. Once you're all done with that, then we can talk, right? Then I can work from there." But when you go from trying to jump into your kid's life out of nowhere, and then you start yelling and criticizing and trying to correct them after they've just got done opening up to you, you think that they're going to do that again, right? When you ask them how their day's going, you think they're just going to open up and be like, oh, well, this, and this. Probably not, because you flipped the lid and you freaked out on them just a couple days before that because you didn't take the time to actually listen to their feelings. And that's the big thing, guys. That's what I want everyone uh, to know out there. And trust me, I'm no pro. I'm not a pro at this stuff. I'm figuring it out just along with, I mean, just the same way everyone else is. I get a little bit of information here and there, and I want to share it to everybody. And that's essentially what this whole video is about. Like my understanding of this whole world and how I think some of this information could help you guys out. That's all I'm doing, just trying to help other people out. In the meantime, I'm talking in a microphone, looking at a camera out in the middle of this field. Pretty cool. Not bad. Anyways, I digress. If we were to combine those three steps, I think that'll give you a pretty good landing point to kick off your new relationship with your child. And if you do have aspirations of having your kid look up to you as a maybe not even a superhero, maybe just a guy, maybe just a good father or a good mother, try those three steps. The big one is just listening. Listen to your kid. Don't be your kid's friend necessarily. You could be a friend to your kid, but don't be your kid's friend. It's two different things. I see it a lot. I see parents are best friends with their kids, and I think that's really good. I think you can be your best friend to your kid, but they need to know that you're their parent as well, and they can't treat you as a best friend. They can't talk back to you. They can't belittle you. They can't do all these things that they might to their friends because they think you're their friend because you've treated them as such. And I think there is a fine line. I've yet to walk that. I make it pretty clear that you could tell me anything with my kids, but just know I'm still your parent. I will be your best friend forever. Um, but let's keep that relationship. You're my child and I'm your parent, and let's keep it as such. Let's uh let's keep it that way. And it's working out for me so far. So there you go. Even if you don't want to be your kid's superhero and you just want to be a good parent, try those steps. I know there's a lot of people out there that have never heard this stuff before. Maybe there are some people out there that have heard it and this is just repetitive stuff. But if it's reminded you to do something and you can actually go home and implement just one little step to your child, then that's a win in my book. So I hope someone out there got something out of this whole deal. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to help you out. If you liked the video, I would greatly appreciate it. If you liked and subscribed to the channel, that is also very, very helpful. And I hope everyone out there has a great day. Until the next time, thank you. Bye.